JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today is the 13th of May 2020, so yep, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Wednesday's morning session where we're going to have a quick look at the markets, a view of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimers. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest, and we can continue. Okay, now then, also just before we jump into the charts, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos. And of course, our JFD Bank website, and specifically our JFD research page, which we also update on a daily basis. So yep, feel free to visit us here on jfdbank.com and click on the research tab right there on the top, guys. So now then, let's quickly have a look at what's happening here in terms of the coronavirus. Now the figure has increased, and to be honest, it looks like it has increased sharply. So now then, until this one's loading up here. So there we go. That's a bit of a mess. A bit of too much interaction here on this chart. So nevertheless, what we're interested here is in the figure. So we can see that the total number continues to rise, and together with the death toll. But here, what's interesting is that according to these numbers, of course, the leaderboard here is with the US with the most infections and the most deaths. Second place is United Kingdom in terms of deaths, but Russia has overcame Italy, Spain, and the United Kingdom in terms of total amount of infections. So we'll continue monitoring the situation here. Let me just quickly double check the daily cases. I mean, if this is not going to start lagging too much, that would be quite good. So yes, we can see that the number has increased. So yesterday we were on the lower side, but this is what I was mentioning, that in a way it's kind of, for now, it's moving in waves. So if we have a decline, then we get another outburst to the upside. So again, unfortunately, that's the situation right now. However, overall, it seems to be on a decline. Now then, let's jump into some charts here very quickly. So the first one I want to touch on here is the Nikkei 225. I've looked at this one. I looked at this one a while ago, and previously I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this barrier here, this key area of resistance, roughly between the 19,974 and the 20,110 territories. Or in other words, you could kind of keep an eye on that psychological 20,000 zone. So in a way, as you can see, we had a nice push above it. We need to shift the arrow here, because still, as long as it remains above this territory, we will stay positive in the near term, because again, we should not forget that this move higher is still seen as a temporary correction, a possible temporary correction before another leg of selling. So for now, you can see that after we've reached the peak here in January, maybe not this all-time high. Let me just quickly double check that as well. So yeah, it wasn't the all-time high. The all-time high was here back in 1989. So, or should I say, sorry, 1990. That was the peak here, but the kind of the latest high was here in 2018. But as you can see, this year we failed to reach that, and it reversed sharply to the upside. So, to the downside, and then now like we found support near the 16,359 zone, 58 zone, and we're pushing a little bit higher. So for now it seems that everything's looking quite positive. In a way, as long as it stays above this 21-day EMA as well, there is a chance for this one to drift further north. So as you can see previously here, as it kind of continued to trade above this 21-day EMA, and this 21-day EMA on the daily chart continued to provide decent support. So for now, in a way, like I said, keep your eyes on this one. Yes, Nikkei is trying to make its way higher again. However, it's still in the red for today. Yeah, let's see if it can push further north. What we're going to do here is we're going to keep an eye on the high of this week, which is roughly around the 20,535 territory, and if we get a nice pop above this, then yes, higher levels could be met. So again, for now guys, be very careful here. If we get a push above this, then yep, this would confirm a forthcoming higher high, and more buyers could be joining in. Jumping into another interesting instrument here, that's Brent oil. Now I talked about this one yesterday, and basically I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this little pattern here, which probably could be better visible on the 4-hour chart. Now here what I was saying yesterday, that in a way keep your eyes on this little kind of symmetrical triangle, or in a way you could maybe say that's more of a wedge. And we gotta drop lower, we gotta break below this the lower side of this pattern. However, as you can see, it kind of continues to find support near this 200 EMA on the 4-hour chart. So this is quite interesting. So it keeps on balancing above it. However, don't get me wrong, such kind of activity sometimes tends to drop lower. I mean, this could be just a temporary pause before a continuation move lower. So for now, what we're going to do here and how we're going to play this one out is we're going to keep an eye on this low, the low of the 6th of May, which is roughly around the 28.66 zone. And if we get a nice drop below this, this would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and well, that's when we could start aiming for the 27.18 zone. But as I've mentioned yesterday as well, if we look at the daily chart, a drop below the 27.18 zone is the more comfortable level for us, after a break of which we could aim for lower levels. Again, it's very close right now, so from the very short-term perspective, yes, we could, if we see a drop below the 28.66 territory here, which is the low of the 6th of May, then yes, we will aim for a bit of slightly lower levels, and probably slightly lower levels will be around the 27.18 zone, and then we'll take it from there, because we want to see how it's going to behave here, because if it finds support and rebounds back to the upside, well, I mean, maybe this is what the bulls could enjoy for a while. But if it starts dropping even below the 27.18 territory here, then well, I mean, deeper extensions to the downside could be possible. So keep your eyes on this one. With the upside in the near term, we would like to see a push above the current highest point of May, which is around the 32.21 zone, and then we could aim for slightly higher levels. But let's not forget that this move upside could still be seen as a temporary correction before another leg of selling, because we are still below this downside line. Take it from the high of the 8th of January. Ethereum. So Ethereum continues to balance below this upside support line. This is a daily chart, by the way. So what I've mentioned about this one previously, that in a way, if it drifts further south and drops below the 100 EMA and the 200 EMAs here on the daily chart, then there is a good chance for this one to drift further south. However, you can see that on Monday, I mean, it drifted lower. It tested this area around the 176.50 zone and rebounded and back to the upside. However, it still is struggling with this 21-day EMA here, which coincides with the 195.15 territory, which is the low of the 4th of May. So in other words, for now, we're going to probably remain neutral, because Although, yes, we are below the short-term upside support line. We had a bit of a rebound, but in order to get comfortable with lower levels, we would like to see a drop below the this current lowest point of this week, near the 176.50 zone. So keep your eyes on this one. In terms of the upside, we'll take a very conservative approach, and we'll wait for a push above this barrier here, the highest point of April, and which is around the 227.50 zone. So yep, keep your eyes on this, guys. Could be quite interesting, but let's wait for that confirmation break. Now then, AUDNZD. So this is where it was very interesting. So I talked about this one in the beginning of this week, and I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this upside support line, which kind of continued to provide, well, kind of to keep the rate afloat, although we did get a few overshoots here, but still, as you can see, the pair kind of popped higher, and yesterday the pair got a boost, today, this morning, the pair got a boost from the RBNZ because the New Zealand dollar declined due to we had the interest rate decision, which where the interest rate stayed the same from New Zealand, of course, but what else was interesting, that the RBNZ kind of opened the door and are not excluding a possibility to have negative interest rates. So this kind of worked in the opposite way here. This didn't work well for the New Zealand dollar, let's put it this way, and sellers started getting rid of New Zealand dollar. So or should I say people were started to get rid of New Zealand dollar. So okay, so basically here the situation is a little bit difficult. I mean, it pushed higher, however, it's finding good resistance near this level, the level that I kept talking about, the 1.0757. We did get an overshoot initially, but as you can see, it's struggling to stay above it. So don't get me wrong, the day is just started. Maybe we'll have some more activity later on here, but keep your eyes on this barrier, the 1.0757. If we get another push above it, then yes, this of course is opening the path towards higher levels. However, first of all, let's probably get rid of this upside line because it got violated. Now mainly we're going to focus on some of these levels here. So again, the 1.0757, that's what we're going to be looking at. If we get a further push higher above it, the next potential target for us is around the 1.0865. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that this could get reached today, no, but maybe if we get a daily close above this territory, above this 1.0757, more buyers could see this as a good opportunity to step in, and we could see this pair then drifting further north, like I said, towards this 1.0865 level, which is the highest point of November 2019. In terms of the downside, we would like to see a drop below this area here, the 1.0585 territory, and then yes, we could aim for lower levels. USDCHF, quick update here. Not much is happening here on this pair. I'm not going to spend too much time on it because I spoke about this one yesterday. Basically the same idea kind of remains. We would like to see a drop below this 0.9681 zone. Yesterday we got that drop, but it didn't quite really close the rate, didn't close the daily candle below it. So yeah, so for now we're just, like I said, we're stuck here, and although it is leaning a little bit more to the downside, however, we will remain cautious because what we don't want to see here is a potential bullish flag, because we do have a pole here, and this little kind of decline, this little correction could be could be just a temporary one before another leg of buying. So that's why we will be very careful on this one, and if we do get a daily close below this territory, below the 0.9681, then yes, we will aim for slightly lower levels. So keep your eyes on this one. USDJPY, this one declined yesterday, dropped back below the 107.50 level that I talked about. So basically it's now kind of drifting back down. Don't get me wrong, we could see this one moving even further south, given the recent activity here. It could move further south. However, all eyes will be on this downside line, because if it can provide a support or not, or can it act as a nice trampoline for this pair. If it can, then yes, we could aim for the upside again. However, still probably we will take a cautious approach here, and we would prefer to see another push above the 107.50 zone and then aim for higher levels. Until then, we're not really going to do anything. Even with the downside, we would prefer to see a drop below the 105.94 zone and then kind of aim for lower levels, because like I said, all this territory is a bit of a tricky one. Quick update on US dollar against the Turkish lira. Here the pair closed yesterday below that psychological 7 territory, so in a way this increases the chances of a potential further drift south. However, as you can see, it's currently kind of finding support near this 21-day EMA on the daily chart. So for now, guys, keep your eyes on this one, because if it continues to provide support, then we could see this one drifting back to the upside. However, again, for now, like I said, as I mentioned yesterday, we are going to be leaning a little bit more to the downside if we get a drop and we didn't get a daily close below the psychological 7 zone. So yes, we are still doing that. We're still leaning a little bit more towards the downside, especially if we get a drop below the 21-day EMA. So keep your eyes on this one, or in other words, you can actually also keep your eyes on the low of yesterday, which is roughly around, let me just put this one on the chart, which is roughly around the 6.96 zone. Yeah, 6.9670 territory. So a drop below that could open the door towards further declines. In terms of the upside, we would need to see this one pushing back above this upside support line, and then we could aim for higher levels again. NZDCAD. So this is what I kind of mentioned this morning, earlier on, that the New Zealand dollar kind of came under selling pressure, and yesterday I talked about this pair. Yesterday we had a nice move higher, rebound from this upside support line, but what I was also saying yesterday, that even if we get a break of this upside support line, ideally we would like to see a nice drop below the 0.8461 territory here, which is the low of the 7th of May, and we did get a drop. However, as you can see, the bulls are really trying hard right now to lift the pair back above this area. Now, if we get a daily close below this, then deeper extensions to the downside could be possible. We could aim for the 0.8381 territory somewhere around here, or even towards the low of the 3rd of April, or in other words, the lowest point of April near the 0.8268 zone. But again, keep your eyes on this, guys. Let's see if this is not going to end up being a false breakout of this upside support line, because if the rate by any chance travels back above this upside line and stays here, then that means that maybe the downside could be slightly off the table, and we could start examining higher levels. However, with the higher levels, as I've mentioned yesterday, we need to see a push above this barrier here, the 0.8575 territory, and then we could aim for further upside. GBPCAD very quickly here. So also another update. I'm not going to spend too much time on this one because I've talked about this one yesterday. The pair is still stuck in a range. However, it's still sitting above this. It kind of keeps playing around with this lower bound of the range here near the 1.7245 zone. And this morning, even yesterday, we had a break. On Tuesday we had a break, and on Monday we had a break here. Sorry, on Tuesday we had on Monday we had a break here as well. So basically, it keeps breaking this territory, but keeps closing the candle, the daily candle above it. So even this morning we saw another drop here, but it's still kind of pushing back higher. So again, we will probably remain a little bit more on the neutral side, but if we get it pushed back above this 1.7375 territory here, this could also place the rate above the 21-day EMA, and maybe more buyers could see this as a good opportunity to step in. But if we do get a nice finally we do get a daily close below this territory, then yep, there are more chances for this one to drift south. GBPEUR, quick update here as well. It's flirting with this lower side of the range. I talked about this pair yesterday, so yep, for now, guys, the same story kind of it remains. We need to see a clear break through one of these highlighted areas, and ideally we would like to see a daily close outside of this range first before considering a further directional move. For now, we're just keep monitoring this level here, the 1.1305. If we do get a nice drop below this, then yes, we will aim for lower levels. And finally, Euro USD. So this one is, well, it popped higher. It moved above Friday's high here near the 1.0875, but as you can see, it quickly retraced back down. So what I was talking about yesterday, saying that in a way all this territory here for us will be somewhat of a neutral one, because we need to see a nice good daily move, daily close above this 1.0875 zone in order to aim for at least the upper bound of the range here where the pair is currently stuck at. Or if we get a break of this upside support line and a drop below this this level right here, the 1.0777 territory, then yes, we will aim for lower levels. And ideally we would prefer to see a daily close as well, because again, we did get a few drops here, false breakouts, but as you can see, the pair got pushed back to the upside very quickly then. So that's why we will remain neutral, and we'll continue observing this area and wait for a clear breakthrough one of our levels that I've just mentioned. So guys, I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for watching and listening, and if you want to join me later on at my traders tea time, as always, 13:15 GMT, guys. But for now, I hope you have a fantastic trading day. Stay safe, guys, both market wise and health wise, and yeah, catch my video later on, well, not around, but at 13:15 GMT. We'll have a look at some of these instruments, some new ones, and then we'll take it from there. Thank you very much, guys, and bye-bye.